Last week, the casual ruffled the feathers of diehard Adidas fans and casuals alike. They were like, Adidas is making so much money. How could you say so many things about Adidas that are just wrong, son? I don't like you. I was like, all right, sorry. Anyway, in short, they were pretty much like,
You are wrong, Leonidas. You are wrong.
but most were just annoyed by the butchering of Adidas. That's not how you say it. It's Adidas or something like that. Fair enough. You can be mad at that. But Nike, oh Nike, you are not immune to the wrath of the casual. Yes, Adidas may have flubbed a bit with oversaturation. That is arguable. But Nike might be the reason they had to do that in the first place. Because honestly, Nike effed up the entire culture. All of it. How, pray tell? Well, I'm your boy Reggie Casual, and we explore that and more when we serve up Nike hot and ask, what the hell happened to Nike? Nobody is safe. Nike, the third largest fashion retailer on Earth, is a bit of a conundrum. Early on, they embraced sport, made it a cornerstone of their company, and were reluctant to go completely lifestyle, even when hordes of people were standing in line and robbing each other for sneakers. Not to just play basketball in, mind you, but to just wear casually, to flex, to say that they have the sneakers, right? This is of course pertaining to the Jordan era of Nike. What Jordan did to sneaker culture is well documented, but what it did to fashion as a whole was unprecedented. It introduced the world to feverish hype, like loyalty hype. It was unlike anything ever seen, lines as far as the eye could see of hopefuls. And it was then that Nike knew it could create hype simply off of creating contention among the very people who were a part of the same community. Make no mistake, Nike played a dangerous game that pits sneakerhead against sneakerhead, street fashion enthusiasts and casual follower against the purists, and resellers against, well, everybody. What you see today and the anger you feel when you take that 1000th L on the sneakers app, or when you know that store is backdooring, or people paying other people to stand in line for them to get a sneaker, that's all on Nike. But Nike did switch gears in the late 2000s to the early 2010s. Their apparent business model was to stop the frenzy, mainly because of bad press. And they focused entirely on promoting their battle-tested silhouettes and their high-profile athlete endorsements, namely Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant to a lesser degree. The SB Dunks had a period, Air Max had resurgences, and of course, Air Force Ones were always key. Jordan released a few new models, but appeal began to stale as the sneaker industry swiftly shifted from mostly sport to mostly fashion, something due to the growing popularity of streetwear brands like Supreme. And when this happened, Nike had to change it up again. However, they treaded very lightly at first by taking a shot on someone who was the epitome of fashion culture at the time. Now, the industry and the media would have you think that Nike inked their first non-athlete collab with Kanye West in 2009, but that same year, Nike inked a deal with Jun Takahashi of Undercover to develop Gyakso, which becomes really important later, so hold that thought. Nike also had been collabing with Supreme since 2002. The same year, Hiroshi Fujiwara would join the company under the HTM banner. And in a crazy surprise, not known by many, Nike had been collabing with Japanese label Comme des Garçons since, wait for it, 1999, mostly under Junya Watanabe to start. Now, some of you weren't even born in 1999, so Nike's always been about lifestyle. They were just waiting for the perfect time to make it a larger part of their global strategy. The West signing was that moment, and it set the industry ablaze. Here, Nike was doing something that no other major company in the industry of sports apparel had dared to do. Sports apparel, hear me out. Make an original sneaker for a non-athlete. Now, they may have thought that that was a risk at the time, but in fact, it was one of the most calculated decisions they had ever made outside of signing Jordan in 1984. And they kind of blew it because they were behind the wave. Nike was still mired in sports, so they just let Kanye go because they didn't want to pay him royalties. Now, I don't need to tell you the rest of the story. We all know what happened. The Air Yeezy became ridiculously popular, but the entire fiasco ended with Kanye West moving to Adidas. But what Nike found out by doing this is that they could manufacture hype even more so than they did with Jordan, which completely put the power of selling their product in their hands with minimal effort and or risk. In fact, it was Adidas that showed them the proper way of doing this by putting their new flagship sneaker, the Ultra Boost, on Kanye instead of an athlete or runner to promote it. And they gave Kanye an entire product line. Because to be honest, no one would have known of an Ultra Boost had Kanye not worn them. There were plenty of Boost sneakers before the Ultra Boost, and the Pure Boost came before it and is arguably just as comfortable, but they didn't have Yeezy feet attached to them. So there you go. But Nike took that entire concept to another level. In 2014, Nike opened up the Nike Lab, and under the Nike Lab banner, they would take a new tack that ensured that they would remain at the pinnacle of lifestyle sports fashion. Jun Takahashi, that name that I told you would become important later, would expand his partnership with Nike to include Undercover. Hiroshi Fujiwara would be thrust into the forefront again. Nike inked a deal with Errol Hugh of Acronym to develop Nike Lab ACG. Comme des Garçons would include Nike Lab installations at their Dover Street Market locations, and by 2017, the 10 by Virgil Abloh was launched. Not just shoes, but they also gave him an entire lineup with an Off-White collaboration. All this alongside Supreme, Celeb, and special edition releases becoming the norm rather than the exception. There was so much release that even the most avid hypebeast and or sneakerhead had to be more selective. But by the time the release of the 10 dropped, Nike toyed with a strategy that Adidas didn't even consider during its years of dominance in the culture space. Adidas figured updating their most beloved model was the best tactic. Ultra Boost 1, 2, 3, 4, plus cageless and laceless versions get everyone in on the fun. But they never re-released limited sneakers, the most desired versions of the Ultra Boost, something that fashion enthusiasts had always clamored for. Nike delivered that in the most contrarian way possible. Glimpses of this were seen with the Jordan 4 release, but it was the 10 by Virgil Abloh that revealed this strategy. Basically, Nike employed a method where they re-released the limited models in different colorways on space schedules, which drove down resale prices, but more importantly, they banked on people not wanting the same shoe twice. And it kind of worked. Resellers would cry, "You're milking the shoe," while everyone else was like, "And now I got a shot." While subsequent releases would still be hard to get, they wouldn't be nearly as sought after as the original, which in turn gave everyone a fighting chance. It was a wrap after that. But what seemed like a win-win on the surface was far more sinister when the layers were peeled back. Nike's motive is always the profit motive, such as any company in their position, and they were using community angst to their own benefits. Now, a little history, if you will, before we continue. The original sneaker community was much smaller than before. Those entrenched in that culture were aware that rare releases were valuable, but it wasn't nearly as bad as it is today because collectors at that time were far more selective. They usually stuck with one shoe or a series of shoes within that. You had Air Max collectors, Jordan collectors, Air Force One collectors, etc., 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 what have you. But Nike wanted to cultivate a community where everyone wanted every sneaker. They orchestrated the entire culture that we see, and in the process perfected the hype casual format, one that kept them in the conversation because of high-profile limited editions, but also flooding the market with standard editions and re-releases of limited editions in different colorways so casuals could buy into all things Nike while also feeling like they were above the hype. But they weren't really. It was a near perfect balance, even though they were releasing the same damn shoes all the time. You see, Nike played us, all of us, for fools. I mean, kudos to you if you noticed what they were doing, but you still engaged. I mean, they come out with good stuff from time to time, and it's certainly okay to be a fan. Nobody's saying that. You can be a fan of anything. I definitely have a Nike or two in the closet, but even if you claim to be above the hype, the fact that you know what the hype is means that you are very much a part of it, and Nike wouldn't have it any other way. They even want the niche people too, just in case hype surrounds that niche. Errol Hugh Acronym fans, Matthew M. Williams fans, Fear of God fans, CE fans, Sakai fans, A Cold Wall fans, Ambush fans, music fans, and of course, all of the sports fans. And what some people may see as Nike killing it, I've even said that, others may see it as an unwanted ubiquity where everyone is obsessed with the same thing, and that is not a good thing when you look at it objectively. And to be honest, there is no feel-good ending to this WTH. Nike does good stuff, but they have nearly mastered marketing, so you think they do good stuff even when they do bad stuff. They make savvy plans and have a vested interest in being the owners of what's cool and edgy, and they're the first company to buy it. Not buy into it, mind you, to buy it. More clearly, they want you to be inspired, but they don't mind pissing you off. They've become political, social, fashionable, technical, and just plain everything. It's kind of scary actually, because Nike is not simply a sportswear machine. It's one of the most recognizable brands ever, and they are determined to be even more entrenched in everything from the runway, to the street, to the court, to the field, in your closet. They wanna be everywhere. And now they wanna know where you go. Those BB adapts are controlled by an app in my phone, which has GPS. Yeah, dog, I'm cool, Nike. I already got a whole bunch of people who already know where I am. I don't need you to know where I am, Nike. That's just ridiculous. So what the hell happened to Nike? Nothing. They've always been this way. They and all the other brands like them, Adidas included, they know that people like cool stuff, or they pretend not to like cool stuff, but end up getting cool stuff anyway in the name of like comfort, or I've always liked that silhouette, dog. I've always liked it. Basically, the worst part that they do is that they create these soldiers, people who come to their defense viciously and attack. And chances are Nike or any other company like them is not paying them to do so. And that is ridiculous. Jesus, how much Nike pay for you? They didn't pay you nothing, man. Chances are they didn't pay you anything. So why go crazy over it? And that's all I gotta say about it. That's it for this week's edition of WTH, but you can keep the combo going in the comments, and I am totally prepared for the thrashing. Go ahead, give me your best, son. In the meantime, give a thumbs up if you liked the video, and follow your boy on Instagram at Reggie Casual and the Casual Official at thecasual.co. そして、まだやっていないなら subscribe を忘れないように. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, but most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international street fashion and culture from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. よろしくお願いします. I'll see you guys in a minute.